Alright, this is a review for the 44mm big bore kit on eBay. For those little cheap Chinese two-stroke engines you can get on there. Some of you guys that watch my other stuff might know I have one. I just bought it for the hell of it, just to see what I can do with it. So this big bore kit, some are a little more expensive, but if you look around on there, you can find this for like $45 to $50, free shipping. And make sure that it's in the US if you want to get it quick. I found this one for like $49.95 and US shipper. I got it in like 4 or 5 days. And it's actually really impressive. It's pretty cool. It's not the best quality, but there's no thrust washers on the big end bearing, which kind of worries me, but I packed these with grease. Actually, all the bearings and stuff on these come dry, which is kind of bad, but there is no rust or anything, so that's good. The cylinder. This is actually really cool. I seen this on old snowmobiles. Some people porting would do this. For a case reed that has no boost port, you make these. You can make these boost ports on the intake side. And what happens is when the piston comes down, the fuel charge can go through these holes on the piston and push up through past the top of the piston right there, and it works as a boost port. That's actually really cool how they did that. It's just neat. These little engines are really neat to me. They're junk Chinese, but they're pretty cool. I'm going to do my own chamfering on these. On the top edges of this, there's absolutely no chamfering. Right here. So, if you guys do get one of these, make sure you chamfer the ports. These side ones seem alright. The exhaust seems to have chamfer on it, but these boost ports, I could cut my fingernail on that. That's not good. Other than that, I don't know. Doesn't say if it's even actually a big bore, so I don't know. I have to compare everything when I take the other engine apart. I would imagine this would be a longer stroke, like a +2 or something maybe. Probably not even. And I don't know if this is stock size piston or if they're oversized. It says big bore, so I imagine something's bigger, the bore or the stroke or both. It'd be cool if both. And then you got this neat head. It actually even has its own dome, which is really cool. I just thought this was so awesome. Put the dome in here. And I got this out. This is the gasket, the head gasket. Just sets on top of the head, or the cylinder, I'm sorry. And it comes with the new bolts that go down through here. And they go down past the cylinder and hold the cylinder on. The bolts are right here. So you got that piece, and then the next piece is this one. Oh, excuse me. This is the next piece. Goes on. And then this one. And then there's 6 bolts in there. Bolt these pieces onto the lower head piece. So you end up with that. Very cool. It's definitely a lot of cooling going on there. Keep your head real cool. And these are all your gaskets. What's cool with this, I have to measure the exhaust and intake duration, but if this engine could benefit from higher intake duration and exhaust durations, what's cool about having the separate head is I could make a thicker base gasket or even a plate, a spacer, and then you could cut down this dome. You have to be careful, but I'm pretty sure you could shave down this dome to get a tighter squish. I'll have to look closer into all that and let you know in a new video, but that's depending on what the durations even are. I know a lot of these Chinese engines, the intake and exhaust durations are super low and like to the point where they don't even make sense. And it surprises me that the engines even run correct. And a lot of these stock Chinese ones, the head is the same as cast as the cylinder, so there's really nothing you can do. But this exhaust port is a fairly square port. It's actually a good shape for high power. A little cleanup could be done. It's pretty big, but you could widen it out and oval it. If you ovaled it, it would be better for dependability, because a square port like this is more likely to catch the rings. But it looks like it's actually a really good exhaust port. And the transfer ports are just open. You know, they're cut all the way down, like a lot of chainsaws and other small two-strokes. So, hang on a second here, I'll show you with the piston and how the exchange ports look. Just remember, when you get one of these, if you want to put the piston in to check this out, just make sure to put some assembly lube or something on the rings and the piston and the cylinder before you slide it all in. And like the rod bearing, should lubricate that before you even spin it. I mean, even just spinning it around, it's not good to do dry. You should always lube bearings before you do it, before you turn them at all. Okay, so transfer ports, as you can see, they look kind of small, but I mean, for one of these little engines, they're actually pretty big. Like I said, they're cut all the way down though, so you lose a little bit of piston support here, where usually the transfers would have a wall. But that's not really that major. And then this from the top. Not sure how far the piston will be coming down. I would assume right to about here. So if this thing would focus, that gives you an idea. A little boost port in the back, and usually boost ports have more duration than the transfers, so this has less. So I would have liked if they would have cut the boost port up higher, so that it was a higher duration than the transfer ports. But it should still be pretty cool. That'll definitely make a lot of difference. So yeah, that's about all I can say until I get it together and actually do some testing with it. And like I said, I don't like that there's no thrust washers on the big end bearing on the rod, or on the top. You know, some engines you'll see there's none on the bottom, but then on the wrist pin inside the piston on each side of this bearing there will be thrust washers, just to overall keep the rod from slapping side to side. And there's none on either side, so that's going to affect dependability a little bit, I think. But I think overall, for what these little engines are used for, It should be pretty dependable. Whether you put on a bicycle or maybe a mini go-kart or something. I'm not exactly sure what people do with these, but... So yeah, my review for $50 or $60, I would say this is well worth it. And of course, that's just by looking at everything. Once I actually put it all together and run it, then I'll have a better idea for you. We'll run the engine I have stock, and then we'll put this stuff on so we can see the difference. And obviously it doesn't come with a carburetor, so I'll probably buy a larger carburetor. And I'll show you how to make a boot and make the carburetor fit and all that stuff. And also, I've been thinking I will probably build an exhaust pipe for it. An actual expansion chamber. And maybe I'll start building them and selling them. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard because if you don't have a jig for whatever the person is using the engine on, you don't know how to build the pipe so that it'll fit for them. But maybe I'll figure that out. Yeah, that's about it. We'll be back this spring or summer probably with that little engine, and we'll put all this stuff on it and see what we can do with it. Do some extra porting and stuff like that. Thanks for watching.